if you've landed here, you are being called to live your highest divine expression, your authentic expression, and you are being called to live a life of freedom. You are meant to live in divine feminine ease and flow. You are meant to be the living, walking, talking empress, fully magnetic, calling in what is aligned for you easily and effortlessly. You are meant to be honored and held by the divine, by life. You are meant to be intimately connected with the sacred feminine within you and without. As within, so without. Nature is a beautiful example of the sacred feminine. And if you've landed here, it's not by accident. If you've been following along for a while, this is going to be a little different than some of my other transmissions because I am being guided to share more of the human journey. You are fully divine and human simultaneously, and we are here to anchor this divine feminine frequency into the 3D world, right? And fully live from this divine expression as the Empress, as the One, as the walking, talking divinity that you are. And so this has been quite a year so far. This is being recorded at the time of the spring equinox in 2026. And a lot has been shifting. If you've been following this channel for the last year or two, a lot has shifted, especially since the summer of 2025. There's been a massive shift for those that are here to lead the new earth and lead by frequency. And I've spoken on this a lot, which is about really leading through your heart center, creating from the heart, not from the mind, where it doesn't make logical sense, fully trusting and surrendering into the unknown and into the unseen, and trusting in the divine essence of that which you are. Courageously, fearlessly, faithfully, being led by the divine intelligence that's running this whole show. And that has been a series of unravelings, I guess is the best way to put it, of undoing all of the programming and the conditioning that is not true, that is not in alignment with your ultimate truth. The ultimate truth of you is unconditional love, freedom, expansion, and everything that is not in alignment with that, everything that is not lighting you up, that feels fun, that feels like joy, that feels like expansiveness, that feels like limitlessness, is not your ultimate truth. And if you've landed here and you're resonating with this, then I'm speaking to something that you already know. You are being called into the unknown. You're being called to trust and surrender into what is guiding you, right? And trusting in that, and releasing the attachments to any outcome or destination, releasing expectations. And I know that is the challenge of the human egoic mind that wants to keep you safe in your familiar territory, in your comfort zone, and just designed to keep you exactly where you are, even if that is not your highest and most divine expression, right? And so this unraveling has been occurring for the collective for some time now. Many quantum shifts have occurred. In fact, you're quantum shifting all of the time. You're literally jumping timelines very quickly. And I'm going to share a little bit about, like I said, I'm being called to share a little bit about the human journey over here because I feel it's helpful, and I'm just getting really excited to share this. I have gone quiet. I say God put me on airplane mode the last few months, but I really feel now that that was divinely guided, and you may have also gone through that. So let me know in the comments if that resonates. And that's always, and that's a clear sign that things are about to shift in a major way. When you're being called into stillness, called into silence, there's less, there's no noise, there's no opinions, there's just you and God, you and the divine, you and the stillness, you and the silence. And trusting and knowing in that, and that whatever comes from that, there's sacred discernment. So I'm going to get situated. There's sacred discernment on what is truly resonant with your heart and what is not, what is in coherence with your divine identity. Your divine identity is the limitless, fearless, courageous, empowered identity that is not operating from the false programming, the false conditioning, this false sense of separation and unworthiness and or limitation, or all of the societal constraints and all of it, right? So you are a sovereign soul. You are a sovereign being. You're here to experience your divine sovereignty while in human form. That is part of your mission. That is actually the shift that has occurred now in the collective. Many of you have identified maybe with the healer, light worker path for a long time, and that served the mission, the soul mission, for a time, right? Many of you, if you are listening to this, your mission has shifted. Your highest contribution to humanity now is to live your highest truth. Hard stop, unapologetically, authentically, in alignment with your heart and what your soul knows to be true. And only you will know what that is. Every single one of us is a divine expression of the one, appearing as separate, which is part of the dream. And what a beautiful dream it is when you can see it and you can play it at the highest level, which is what you're here to do if you've landed here. So what is calling you? What is on your heart? I can share this, how this unfolded over here is, well, actually right now my location has changed. I am currently on an adventure with the divine, leading the way to an unknown destination for an undefined amount of time. Traveling with my fur babies and spending time in nature and what I refer to as sacred luxury. Sacred luxury for me is mixing nature, this ultimate sacred feminine, divine feminine ease and leisure, with luxury, abundance, prosperity, fun, freedom, all of it. So for me, that has always lit me up. And over the course of the last 12 months, I was trying to figure it out. I was like, well, what lights me up? Well, if I could do anything, what would I be doing? Well, I'd be spending time in nature, and I love luxury. I love abundance. This Libra over here loves aesthetics, loves beauty, loves health and wellness, loves organic lifestyle, loves holistic living, loves fresh mountain air, loves scenic lakes and hiking and trails and waterfalls and being with my fur babies and being in nature. And this is what I love. And that's what I've always loved. If I looked at my journal for the past 5 years, if I looked through it, it would have this. If I looked at my vision board back when I did vision boards a decade ago, it would have that on it. I looked through my, because I recently, now that I'm kind of digital nomading, I looked through some of the journals as I packed whatever stuff I was storing. And it's all been in there the whole time. The true soul knowing. I believe when I was little, someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said travel writer. I didn't even know what a travel writer was. I was so little. I don't even know where that came from. But traveling has always been fuel for my soul. And so for many of you know that I've been based out of Scottsdale for over, since 99, so 27 years, which is beautiful and gorgeous sunsets, beautiful desert vistas, and I've been in Scottsdale the last several years, which is a very, good mix of desert, beauty, nature, luxury, abundance, and all the things. But something was off. And every single summer when it got really hot, the dogs, Hazel and Ruby, and before that I had Bentley and Max. They didn't like it in the summer, and I always felt guilty because I would leave in the summer and go on these short little excursions to Lake Tahoe or Aspen or Costa Rica or Hawaii, France, Italy, random places to get out of the heat. And I would feel bad when I would go to the national parks, Olympic National Park most recently, in Port Angeles, to go to well, to go to Olympic National Park and Bend, Oregon, and Sisters, to do a lot of hiking there. And I would be gone for 5 to 7 days, and then I would come back, and it would be hot. And I would swear every single summer that I was going to be a snowbird, and I was going to mix my time, between Arizona and some other place, right? And I would go to Montana or Glacier National Park or Yellowstone or Yosemite or something like that. And I'd be gone for 5 or 6 days, and then I'd come back, and then it'd be hot for a long time, and the dogs would hate it, and I would always feel bad that I left them. And really, I just wanted to take my fur babies with me. So when I finally started to get honest of what was really in alignment, especially since 2025, when everything was shifting very fast, it became very also fully stepping into feminine magnetism and collapsing timelines very fast, and seeing that things would show up very fast as soon as I got clear. And these different opportunities would show up as soon as I got clear. I mean, new career paths would show up, new way of earning would show up, a new living situation would show up, a new, like, as soon as I would call it in, it would show up. A new collaboration that I thought was going to be in alignment would show up. It would happen very fast, and it was me attempting to figure out how I could mix all of the things that I truly love: luxury, abundance, nature, sacred feminine energy, divine feminine leisure, my version of prosperity and wellness, living a holistic lifestyle fully in alignment with my feminine cycle, and the rhythms of nature, and being closer in nature, and having my fur babies with me, and beautiful scenery. And so they're actually out here right now. I'll show you. There's Hazel. And I don't know if you can see Ruby. There's Ruby. So when I was trying to figure this out, and I was trying to figure it out, which is just the mind trying to figure it out, which is limiting it, I would call in opportunities very fast on how I was going to do the digital nomad, and whether it was going to be through an RV, whether it was going to be, this or that, and different career paths, different opportunities, partnerships, collaborations, that I had that kind of hit a little piece of the vision. But it was me trying to figure it out and put it in, like, make it happen. And I would see very quickly that it wasn't it, right? So things would come in and it wasn't it. And then things would come in and it wasn't it. And things would come in and it wasn't it. And I would manifest it so fast. It's almost like, oh, this is a synchronicity. It's so aligned. It just pops right in. And I was like, oh, duh, yeah. Like, of course it just comes in because I just called it in, and then it shows up within like a day or 72 hours or a week, and everything just literally pops in. That's just because I literally just speak it into existence. And when I started to go down any of those paths, I would be able to walk that timeline just enough to feel resistance in my body. And so this is all divinely guided too, because I was able to cultivate a very refined sense of sacred discernment by listening to my body and being grounded and anchored and calibrating my nervous system and listening to what is in coherence with my heart and what is not, and acting from any sacred actions that are heart aligned and not from the mental body. So that was like a calibration that was happening, of coming into mind heart coherence instead of trying to figure it out and lead from the mind, and then like experiencing the instant manifestation, because there really is no gap. You're just aligning with that timeline. It can happen very fast, because it's not even fast. It's just, it can be instantaneous. It's not even manifestation anymore. The need to manifest falls away, because as you're living from the divine presence and essence that you are, anchored here in the now, there is no gap. The gap is a perceived gap, and there still will be what is perceived to be a delay in the 3D reality, because that's part of the human game, and we're not meant to figure it out. The need to figure it out falls away. You just play the game at the highest level, and the fun is actually in not figuring it out and having the mystery and the magic unfold as you walk it. I've shared this so many times. As you walk the path, it will unfold, but it's not going to show you 5 moves ahead. It's going to unfold as you walk it. And as you walk in faith, it unfolds like a little red carpet underneath your feet. You are being supported, but you have to be able to step and walk in faith and step into the unknown. And there was a huge identity shedding around taking the sacred actions that led to where I am now, which is feels so nourishing to my soul and is the start of a whole new adventure of which I have no desire to figure out. There is no destination, there is no timeline. There is nothing that I have to do or any place I have to go. I get to play it all by ear and go with the flow and follow the divine synchronicities and the nudges in the heart soul calling within to live a life beyond my wildest dreams. And that only happens when I'm out of the mind and in the heart. And what you're witnessing now that I'm sharing with you is the embarking on this journey into the unknown, that I'm just guided to share. So if this resonates with you and lands with you, feel free to subscribe and follow along, because I'm being guided to share a lot more. I have no idea where this is going. I have no idea where I'll be going, what I'll be doing, what's going to come in. I can't say that. I'm going to get back to this. Let me not jump around too much. So cultivating a high level of sacred discernment was part of this process. And as that happened, and I was able to say, oh yeah, that's not the highest. This is causing too much anxiety. This is like really short-circuiting my nervous system. Some of these paths that were lighting up for me that were becoming very obvious timelines, and I was not able to take them. It's like the nervous system became so unable to stay. It's like as you refine your frequency and you trust and anchor more deeply in it, you will call in timelines that are not fits necessarily. And this is all divinely designed as well. So you can really fine tune and finesse this level of sacred discernment so that you can trust and know what is in alignment, what is in coherence with your highest timeline. And it's not to say, so there's no wrong or right way. Everything unfolded perfectly, and it always does. It's just a level of, now, do you want to play the game at a high level of fun and freedom and flow, or do you want to play the game still fighting resistance? And do you want to still be fighting resistance? Or do you just want to finally let go and let the river take you, right? Instead of trying to swim uphill swim upstream. And so this sacred discernment was cultivated by, it was like this like trial and error of like instant manifestation, where it was like, oh yeah, well, since this is totally a dream and I'm lucid in it, I can just choose, and this is what's happening now. And I would literally rewrite reality and watch the new thing come in. I literally would rewrite so many mind-blowing things that have come in that I thought I wanted. Keyword, I thought I wanted. This is all coming from the separate sense of self, the sense of I, right? So there would be these things. It didn't really come from the heart. It would be like, I thought I wanted, so things would come in and they would not be resonant at the heart level, and it would quickly be seen, and I could feel it in the body and the nervous system being rejected, because you fine tune your nervous system so well that it literally rejects distortion. That's how it feels. It feels like it just literally rejects distortion. And knowing that your highest divine timeline unfolds easily and effortlessly. There's nothing that requires, there's no force, there's no efforting, there's no, having to work through like some anxiety ridden triggers and this and that. No, it flows in easily and effortlessly. It's already yours. Anything that's meant for you cannot miss you. Like, you just be a vibrational frequency match to that and live your most authentic truth, which means the micro decisions along the way, the sacred discernment, the sacred yeses and the sacred nos are going to be there to help calibrate you to your highest frequencies. So then the timeline just unfolds and like, voila, right? But these are sacred fine tunings. It's like a tuning fork, right? Like, you're fine tuning your frequency. You are a transmitter. What signal are you sending out? What signal are you receiving? When you realize that your nervous system, the body, is the sacred technology, and that you really just fine tune your own frequency, and then the right things will flow in at the right time. There is no chasing, there is no trying, there is no figuring out. And this sounds great in theory. It sounds easy in theory. Just release, let it go, and everything will align. But it's very the opposite of that to the egoic mind and to the separate sense of self that needs to latch on to some sense of control to try to figure things out before it takes the next step. And so when you finally start to get stripped of all of the identities that you thought you needed to be in order to fit in order to have approval, in order to have validation, in order to be loved, in order to be seen successful, in order to, deemed good enough, and you start to strip away and get honest and real with what truly lights you up, you're creating the space where as those identities shed, it's an undoing and an unbecoming, and you're just living more as your authentic expression. And that's when the things just really start to line up. And there was one thing that I thought I wanted, in air quotes over here, if you're listening to this podcast, it's come over and visit us on YouTube because it'll be more fun. But that was an amazing income earning opportunity, and to the tune of multiple six figures a year come in. And I listened to my body, and it was not it. And I declined the invitation to move forward with that opportunity and to go down that path and to do the interview or whatever. Yeah, and it fell in my lap, and it was exactly something that, it was a piece of what would fit into whatever I was calling in, right? Like, obviously being divinely compensated for my true gifts and magic, and all of that is part of this. But there were things about it that were not in alignment. And without any hesitation, the old version, it would have been a dream come true years ago, or even a couple, even like a year, 2, 3 years ago. It wouldn't even have been something on my radar then, though. But anyways, long story short, it didn't feel in alignment. It didn't click, regardless of what it looked like on paper. And I declined it. And that takes a level of sacred discernment and unattached. You're not attached to any particular outcome, because you already know it just gets to be better and better. And there's no longer self-abandoning, selling yourself short in order, you just don't self-abandon on this journey anymore. There's no room for self-abandonment and living from some inauthentic expression, or by anybody else's rules or ways of being or ways of existing or ways of earning or things you gotta do or should do or any of that. You get to write the rules now. You get to write the rules, and you get to create as you go. And the more you do that, and the more you trust in the unknown, the more things will just unfold easily and effortlessly. So as I went through this process, it started really in like September probably of 2025, of calling in very succinctly. Well, actually it started more like in July of 2025, like on hyper like mode, right? It was happening very fast. It was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that could be in alignment. Let's call it in. And then boom, boom, boom. So that happened from like July, like the summer solstice, all the way through 2025 until the winter solstice, where I completely went dark and God put me on airplane mode to get very still and silent. And I'm now recording this. I've dropped a few transmissions since then. This is now being recorded after this spring equinox and the full moon that we just had here in April. So this is April 2026. It's a timeless message, but it's also very timely. That level of that going inward and just being still and listening to the silence and getting really honest with just the elements that really light me up, and allowing that to unfold. And then things just pop in that were in perfect alignment and required a lot of sacred discernment around things that were not in alignment. And there were detours that took me down a path just long enough to see where I was still willing or unconsciously operating from a lack of sovereignty, or giving my power away, or self-abandoning in some way, even if it was small. And as I declared, no, we're rewriting this. I'm no longer, this is not part of the story. This is not part of the game. This is not part of the dream. And immediately something else would fly in specific to what I called in. That is the opposite. So it's like you're just shown where you're still giving. Life is going to be able to reflect to you very succinctly, very perfectly, where you are still giving power away or self-abandoning, whether big or small. And that's just part of the refinement process. That's part of the recalibration, so you can come into divine coherence with your divine identity, the way I refer to living as the divine expression that you are, and no longer wearing the performance mask or the people pleaser mask or the the operating from a false sense of separation, operating from someone who this operating from the seeker, the one that needs to figure it all out, the one that feels separate from the divine, right? Like all of these places where you are doubting your true power, the God power that lives within you, or not fully trusting in that, will be revealed. And every place you're doubting yourself, when you're doubting yourself, you are doubting the divine, because you are a divine expression of the one. You are created by the ultimate creator. That infinite intelligence lives within you, and it lives within, it's everything, and it's perfect, and everything is working out, and nature is a beautiful example of that, and there are no rules. It's just perfectly intelligent and synchronistic and synergistic, and yeah. So none of this makes any sense. It's just surrendering to the unknowable mystery and allowing it to unfold. The mind is going to come in and say, okay, how do I do this? What makes sense? How to figure it out? And I'm just sharing, the more the mind tries to lead like that, the more awareness you have to have in order to bring yourself back to presence and breathe and sit in the stillness and the silence and allow what wants to come through to come through. So there were so many things that would come up, like traveling, nature, sacred luxury, abundance, beauty, lake towns, mountain towns, spending time in coffee shops, slow mornings, divine feminine ease, and spending time with fur babies and beautiful weather and nature photography and traveling podcasts and sacred feminine immersions and all of these things that I have no idea. They're just all pieces of the puzzle, and they're fun and they're aligned because they light me up, and I have no idea how they fit together. All I know is that I don't know how it's all going to play out. I'm finding myself now on this adventure in nature and sacred luxury with my fur babies, which is something I've always wanted to do, is bring my fur babies with me. There's an intention to be able to do as many national parks and national forests. Maybe do Oregon, maybe do Montana, Lake Tahoe, Sequoia National Forest. There's so many options, and I'm not trying to figure it out. It's an undefined amount of time to a destination unknown, just like life. There is no destination. So this is just a beautiful metaphor of living this expression, right? Like that's such a beautiful metaphor for life, that life itself is just here now happening. There is no destination. There is no goal. People get to their deathbed after decades and decades of hustling their ass off and saving up and doing this and doing that and checking off all the boxes, and get to the end of their life and realize that really they just wish they allowed themselves to have a little bit more fun. They really just wish they would have said yes to that adventure, right? They really just wish they would have just not been so hard on themselves, or they would have just went and did that, right? And that one thing that they never allowed themselves to do because they were too busy checking off boxes. There are no boxes to check. There are no rules. There is no destination. The goal of life is to live it and have fun and live it to your highest expression. And if you're resonating with this now, you are a new earth human leading by your own frequency, leading by your divine frequency, and whatever wants to come through you as a creative expression of that, however you're living, whatever you're doing, whatever you're creating, however you're being in the big moments and in the small moments and everything in between, that is life. That is your divine authentic expression. We all have, our soul has a song to sing in this lifetime that is unique. And I truly feel, I'm getting kind of emotional as I say this, that we are all, if you're resonating with this, we are all creating this melody through our own expression, right? Like when you listen to a song, if you close your eyes and you listen to just like classical music or a song, it's not just like a single note. We are all single notes that make up this beautiful melody. And this is the new earth frequency. You're here to just live your highest expression, whatever that is. No apologies. No constraints. No rules. This doesn't mean you just forego. I want to preface this. This doesn't mean that you just forego anchoring into the 3D frequency, into the 3D reality, right? Like this is key. I want to stress this because you don't have to like blow up your life. I've done that several times too. It's not as fun. It's still here, but it's not as fun, right? It's not maybe necessary. You don't have to blow up your life. So there may be things that your human needs to be humaning and doing at the moment to allow yourself to move into the next level of whatever it is you're being called to move into. So allow it to do whatever it needs to do, and trust and know and anchor into what wants to come through you. You will be supported. And if something isn't in alignment, rewrite it. You literally get to rewrite reality. You are the conscious presence. When you're operating from this, you literally can rewrite reality. It already exists. You're just lining with it. It's not some big heavy thing you have to try to manifest forever. It's not something you have to put on your vision board and then sit around and hope and pray about. It's done. It's done. And anything that you're doing right now to support the human that needs to human, that's happening. That's providing maybe stability. Maybe it's providing some, financial well-being. Maybe that's providing a sense of groundedness, whatever it is. You don't need to blow up your nervous system if something's not in alignment, but you are being called to have sacred discernment around what is not in alignment and what is, so that you can choose other, to open up to the other, right? And sometimes that right there, just the intention of that's already enough anyways, just the intention of it. But then sacred actions and discernment will be revealed to you. And that's where it wouldn't be faith if it didn't get you out of your comfort zone, right? You walk in faith, you walk in courage. Oh, if you really want a powerful intention, and this, I don't recommend doing this unless you're ready to fully align and realize that when your intention is to live from your highest truth, your highest authentic expression, and your divine sovereignty, everything that is not that is going to be revealed, so it can be seen through and alchemized and released. But when your intention is to shut all doors that are no longer in alignment, so that you can walk through with courage and faith the doors that God opens for you, and that is your prayer of gratitude for everything you have, everything that you're living right now. You have things to be grateful for and blessings to be grateful for. And I now walk through any door that God opens for me through with courage and faith. And I know through resonance that it is for me, and shut all doors that are no longer in alignment with my highest and greatest good. Shut all doors that are not in alignment so new doors can open. The old doors have to shut for the new doors to open. And the door is opening now to your highest divine reality, but you have to have the courage to choose it. And even that right there, that prayer, may invoke fear, and that means it's going to be potent. That means it's shifting things. If you didn't if you experience a sense of hesitation or fear as you say that, that shows that you're still attached to the old identity and afraid of, you know, you're attached to the old identity and not fully trusting in the divine. But I swear to you, as you continue to walk in faith and trust and allow things to unfold and have the courage, and, you know, strength to say yes to what is in alignment, yes, you will shed the old identities that are still attached to the old way of being, the old way you used to show up and try to gain validation, support, approval, success, like love and all the things. Those identities are going to be stripped away. But the more that you surrender to it, the more things will unfold easily and effortlessly. And to be honest, living now more in alignment in the unknown and stripped of a lot of the attachments, identities, locations, career paths, ways of earning, things like that, just where, like, way of being, like way of showing up, like all of these different things. Like there's been so many just shedding. Of course, you probably resonate with this as we just exited the year of the snake, and this is the final shedding. Now this is the spring equinox marks this. This is the rise. You're here to rise now. If you're resonating with this, yeah, it will be uncomfortable. It will be uncomfortable. And it is important to anchor and calibrate your nervous system through that. But there is a difference between you getting out of the uncomfortable, familiar, or getting uncomfortable because you're leaving familiar patterns that you know are limiting you, versus just stepping into something that's triggering your nervous system because it is completely just like rejecting that and it's just not in alignment. This is the level of sacred discernment that is required now. So I hope this finds you well. I will be back for another video soon. And if this landed with you, resonated with you, inspired you in some way, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to hit subscribe, give it a thumbs up, drop me a comment. I would love to hear from you. If you're listening to this on the podcast, come visit us over on YouTube at Divine Femme TV. And until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.